everybody. Welcome to iHearIC Radio, episode 115. I've been doing this for a while. This is a show about music and other creative pursuits, mostly talking to people that live in and around Iowa City. Today, we'll be speaking with Alexis Letourneau, and I'm going to read her bio from her website to give you an introduction into who she is. Alexis is a flutist and singer interested in using performance to connect with others. Through improvisation, songwriting, commissioning, and collaboration, Alexis strives to create experiences that engage audience members, encouraging them to connect to themselves and with others. She enjoys writing and performing her own songs, heavily based in improvisation and looping. She is also an avid chamber musician, primarily working with percussionist and keyboardist Nick Martinez to commission and write music for their chamber pop duo, Safety Second. When she is not creating, she can be found at an art museum, looking at clouds, or watching Twin Peaks. Alexis earned her Bachelor of Music education from the University of Georgia under the tutelage of Angela Jones Royce. Angela Jones Royce, should have asked before I started, and is currently pursuing a Master of Arts in Music in the studio of Nicole Esposito at the University of Iowa. Hello, Alexis.
Hey, it sounds funny to hear your bio read out loud to you.
Everyone seems to have that same experience when I do that to them.
I should have done it to myself before this happened, but...
Well, I didn't warn you ahead of time. And I believe you prefer going by Lex, correct?
You are correct. I'm still trying to figure out how to shove that into my professional life, but thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Is there any particular reason you prefer that specific shortened version of your full name?
I like it better. I just I don't like the way Alexis feels. I don't like the way it sounds. And David and Annika, or I guess I should say their full names, Annika Kildegard and David Lemke, two friends of ours. I was having dinner with them last year, and I mentioned that I wasn't a huge fan of my name, and they were like, "What do you want to be called?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter, whatever, you know." They were like, "No, what do you want to be called?" And I was like, "Okay, Lex." And then after that, I was like, "You know what? I should care more about this." And so I started rebranding, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Annika and David are very nice people.
Yes, lovely humans. Glad to know them.
Annika has been on this show pretty recently, actually. So
yeah, I listened to that one. I listened to the Jean-François, Annika, Will podcast. It was nice to hear them.
Yeah. Speaking of listening, if you are a Patreon subscriber to the iHearIC project, you can watch this as a video, just so you are aware. You can see me and Lex looking at each other on Zoom. In addition to hearing our voices. That's at patreon.com/iHearIC. But if you don't have money, feel free to just keep listening for free. No harm done. So what I like to do on the show, typically, I've wanted to have you perform at an iHearIC show for a long time, because you approached me at a show before we really even knew each other. You were very forward, which was great, because I'm not. So I wanted to have you on the series, but obviously everything kind of fell apart not long after that. And I've enjoyed what little time we have actually spent together. I think we performed in that in Jake's piece in March.
Yes.
Right at the end of the world.
The last thing that happened before. Which is a good way to go out, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice final performance. Final, the last thing I ever do, perhaps.
Yes, truly. Sorry.
And then we've seen each other at shows and stuff. But, I feel like this is a good opportunity for us to maybe actually get to know each other a little better.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Messaged me.
So you are from Georgia, correct?
I am. I'm from Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay. I've driven through Atlanta, but I don't know anything else about Georgia.
It's so good. It's funny because I noticed such a difference. I don't know, I noticed when I moved away from Atlanta, I started feeling this strong connection to it more than I had when I was actually living there. And it's funny to like talk about it with people, and then also just like the way that I even pronounce Atlanta versus how you pronounce Atlanta is different, and it's funny to me.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Say it again.
You pronounce the T at the end, Atlanta, and I say Atlanta. I once saw it. Saw it in a book spelled. It was like one of those books that's like, how you know you're from the South or from Atlanta or whatever, and it spelled Atlanta ETLANNA, and I was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you're saying Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of an E at the beginning.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about it like that.
Yeah. And I try to get into people's like earliest memories of music when I interview them. So do you remember like the first time you performed in front of people?
So I was like a super, super shy kid.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I did music in elementary school and stuff, and I was always a singer. That was like the first thing that I always did. And I used to sing my math homework and stuff. And this is not a performance, but the first thing I like ever remember like really singing was like as a child in my bathtub, like writing a song called School is Fun.
Oh, wow.
And then, yeah, I was a huge nerd. And then a funny story about I remember being in 7th grade and we were in math class, or no, it was 8th grade. We were in math class, and like our teachers used to put our desks in like the little fours, you know, so you were like in a group of 4 doing work, and I was just singing, and like everybody was doing work, and I was literally just like singing. And this one kid in my class, like, thank goodness he was like funny nice about it instead of like funny mean, which he could have easily been. I don't know what I was singing, but I was just like doing my work. Everybody was like pretty quiet and I was singing whatever. And he just from across the room starts just like belting Don't Stop Believing, like making fun of me. And I was just like, I did not even realize that I was just like singing so that the entire room could hear. But anyways, those are like, I don't know. I just like started it as a singer, just like singing whatever. And I still do all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like it just came naturally to you to just be doing it all the time.
For sure. I still be walking around my house and I'm just like singing my thoughts. Like nobody has ever heard it.
That story about you doing that at school actually does remind me of something I did that I haven't thought about in a really long time. I think it was in 7th grade. It was like a math class or something, and we were all, like individually working on our homework for later or something, and I was just like singing the word shit to myself. And I got carried away. I got too loud, and a teacher heard me and was like, "Hey, stop."
That's so funny.
I didn't realize, I was doing it out loud, I guess.
Yes, that's like identical. And I was so shy too. And I had like never really performed, or like I didn't really consider myself a singer. I was just like a band kid. And
okay. So you had already picked up a flute by then?
Yeah, I had been playing for a couple years. I started in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm. Was there any particular reason you chose the flute?
You know, I honestly can't remember. I try to think about that all the time. Like, why did I pick up this instrument? But I remember being in elementary school and we had to learn recorder. Mm-hmm. And I remember there was one day that we came into the music trailer, because we didn't have a classroom, we had a trailer. Mm-hmm. And my teacher was like, raise your hand if you practiced last night. And I was the only person in the class who raised their hand. Yeah, and I was like, I love playing this thing. I practice every night, you know, like whether or not you ask me to. And so I don't really know. I feel like I remember wanting to decide between flute, saxophone, and percussion. Mm-hmm. The 3 most popular instruments.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad I ended up with flute. But yeah, I don't really remember why. It suits my personality very well though, so
that's good.
It was fate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I knew you first as a flutist. Well, because that's why you're here at the university, is to study flutes. So when did you, I guess, decide that, well, you did education for your undergrad?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I was going to be a band director.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with what drew you to that as a career choice? So
I guess I'm in kind of a family of teachers. Like my on my mom's side, my granddad was a principal and his wife was a librarian, and my mom is a teacher. She just retired a couple years ago after 40 years of teaching. My mom's awesome. Yeah. And my sister is finishing her degree actually this semester in early childhood education. And so I think honestly some of it is just like it runs in my veins, you know, just like it's a family of teachers. And I was kind of like opposed to teaching at first. I don't really know why. I just like I was like, that's what my mom does. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to do something different. Right. And then I remember being at the end of high school where I decided I wanted to go into music, like super late, like the end of my junior year. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do performance. And I remember my best friend, Priya, was like, I know you don't want to hear this, like, but I think you'd be a really good teacher. And then I started just thinking about it more, and like I used to coach my swim team, and like I was section leader in high school, and I just kept thinking of all these instances of like teaching occurring in my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love teaching. And so that's why I decided to go into music education, and I still love music education and teaching and stuff.
Okay. But when you said it, you said I wanted to be a band director in the past.
Oh, yes.
So do you not want to anymore, and is there a reason for that? Okay.
So after my sophomore year, so I went to the University of Georgia in Athens, which incredible place. I can curse on this show, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, I already said shit, so I already popped the seal.
Dope. Okay. Yeah, so I went to UGA, and the director of bands there, Cynthia Johnson-Turner, she's fucking incredible. I love her. She's super progressive, like socially, but also just like in music. And I remember I got into the wind ensemble my sophomore year, which like shocked me. I did not think I was like wind ensemble material, but I got in and they played all of this new music. And I didn't know about new music, and also didn't know about like new music in wind band repertoire. Like I'm just used to playing like Granger and Holst, you know?
Right.
And those are like, even when you're in high school, when you're like a band kid, you're like, oh my gosh, Holst's First Suite in E flat, or like Linktree Posey, or whatever, you know? But we played this piece called Traversata by Oliver YSB. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I have ever played. Also the hardest thing I had ever played. I remember spending 4 hours in a practice room on one day just playing that piece.
And that's for like a band piece. It wasn't a solo. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like one of those pieces that like you would think it starts getting into a pattern, and then it's like, just kidding. There's no pattern here. Yeah. So I like, that was my first experience with new music. And then from that, I started doing more chamber music, like all focused around like newly written repertoire. And then I went to a couple like flute festivals after that. And I just remember being like new music was really the beginning of it. I started playing more solo repertoire that was new and everything like that. And I just loved it. And I was like, I can't imagine myself not doing this, like not having the time to do this. And then when I student taught with Matt Koperniak, and he's incredible, like one of the best band directors like in the country. The band program was 600 middle schoolers, like just like huge, amazing program. And getting to teach like an ensemble of 200 people and private lessons and sectionals in that setting, I realized like I much prefer the smaller groups of musicians teaching them. And so I still, like when I was still living there, sorry, I'm so cold, my teeth are chattering. I don't know why, my heat was just on. But anyways, yeah, when I was doing that, like I was still living in Athens, like in between graduating and coming here, and I was doing a lot of that because all my friends are in music ed, you know, and I just like, I love doing that. But I realized that my passion was not really with a large group of students, and I liked the really flexible schedule of like doing chamber music and like all that kind of stuff. So
right,
yeah.
And is this around the time that incongruency became a thing? I'm looking at your website some more.
Yeah, incongruency started. That is actually a little. It's based off of Y Music. It's the same instrumentation as them, and how it started was actually my friend Catherine Koopman, who is a wonderful human composer, clarinetist. We were listening to Clearing Dawn Dance, which is off a Y Music album. It's a piece by Judd Greenstein, and it's so cool. It's such a good piece, and we were listening to it, and we were like, we have to play this. And so we just got musicians together, and the group kind of formed based off of that piece. And we put out an album together And yeah, we did a lot. Yeah, we did a lot like when I was there, but since it was 6 people and the group kind of lives all across the country now, we don't really I should probably take it off my website. but yeah, that was a huge part of like my delving into new music, chamber music stuff, and like following that passion, I guess. Mm-hmm. Incongruency was a big part of that.
For those who don't know, the instrumentation is violin, viola, cello, flute, clarinet, and trumpet. It's funny, I mean, trumpet is the one that kind of sticks out in that selection. And I don't think I know why music.
Oh my god. Okay, check them out. They're so cool. I don't know, one of the composers told us, he was like, I really like writing for you guys because you're just like a mini orchestra. So I think he was like, once I got that in my head, it was like way easier to write for you. But they do stuff like they toured with Paul Simon last year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and did an album with him. They did an album with the Staves. They've played with Ben Folds, Emily King. Like, they very much exist at that intersection of contemporary classical and like pop, which is where I want to live. And they're amazing. I love them, especially because the flutist is Alex Soff, and I love her very much. She doesn't know me, but I know her.
I'll send this to her, and then she'll know.
Thank you. Hopefully she doesn't think I'm a weirdo.
Well, she might think I'm a weirdo because I don't know her either.
She's pretty weird, so.
All right, so we got some early examples of you singing kind of uncontrollably. Do you have any memories of like your first year or so playing the flute?
I remember I was just like super into it. I'm a Virgo, and
me too.
Like, oh, nice.
I don't know if I put that much stock into it, but I am also a Virgo.
I'm very much a Virgo. Like, yeah, I'm less type A than I used to be. Because when I decided that I was going to switch from education to performance, I had like an identity crisis. And so I just like had to be more flexible after that, but I'm still very type A. I'm like, I don't know. So my personality fits in well with like being a flute player, but so I just like tried really hard. And I remember we had, chair placements. I don't know how the chair placements, I don't know what they were based on, but, I remember coming in one day, and if you forgot your instrument, then you would be automatically pushed to last chair. Ooh. And I was either first or second chair in 6th grade, okay? Like, why did we even have chairs in 6th grade? Like, I only knew how to play 3 notes. Anyways, but...
You're the best 11-year-old flutist.
I remember coming in, and I was, like, terrified to tell my teacher that I had forgot my instrument, and I did. And not only do you have to sit, like, without like, I feel like when you're a kid who's learning an instrument and all you want to do is play it, having to sit there and sit the entire band class and not have an instrument is punishment enough, okay? Mm-hmm. But I had to sit in last chair, and it was awful. I think I probably cried.
Was that like
because that's who I was.
Just for the day that you forgot it, or were you stuck at the end permanently after that?
I remember going into it, I thought it was forever. I thought it was like until you, I don't know if they called it challenging or whatever, but until you earned your seat back. That's what we had in high school. I forgot all
about that concept.
I know, right? But what if that was how orchestras were? Oh my gosh, like some fool could just come up and be like, I'm challenging you for your chair. Oh, that would be awful.
What a weird hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember thinking it was like permanent, but then I know that when the day was over, I got to go back to my chair. So I don't know if that was me misunderstanding the original rules or that was the band director taking great pity on me crying because I forgot my instrument.
Right. Yeah. I mean, going from first to last, that's a pretty big.
Right.
Yeah.
It might have been second. I don't want to take credit if I was only second chair.
Yeah. Do you remember how many there were?
I
so
remember.
We can really calculate how much of a drop it was for you.
It probably wasn't that many. Maybe like 7.
Yeah.
Because I remember, you have the arc, and it either filled the entire front arc, or like most of it. Because it didn't go to the second row, I remember, because my friend Anna, who played clarinet, sat behind me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know, somewhere between like 5 and 10, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal if it's only one day and you're not playing anyway. You just have to look at the last part.
I just remember sitting there feeling like an absolute piece of garbage. Because also forgetting your instrument, especially, well, I guess maybe a flute is easier to forget than like a tuba or something because it's smaller.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's easier to forget. It's also easier to just transport.
Exactly. That's why I don't know. It's like, I just felt so dumb. Like, why is that the mistake I had to make? Like, forgetting my instrument, rookie mistake.
Yeah, I remember I played saxophone, obviously, in middle and high school bands, and there were like lockers with locks on them in the high school band room where we could keep our stuff. But in middle school, it was just kind of like an open, like giant cubby where you could put your instrument in.
Yeah.
And I probably would have practiced more if I didn't have to carry my instrument back and forth from home and school, because there were some days where I'd have to walk home and I don't want to carry my alto sax case all the way home. So maybe I would have practiced more if I played flute. Let's talk about your more recent, your duo, Safety Second, with Nick Martinez. How long have you been doing that?
It started in 2017. So actually, I don't know if he'll not want me to tell this story, but I'm an open book. Sorry, Nick. It's not a big deal, but we started because, so at UGA, there's 3 halls. There was, Hudson Hall, which is the big concert hall. It's beautiful. Then there's Edge Hall, which is the recital hall for, pretty much everybody, like especially undergraduates. Mm-hmm. And then there was Ramsey Hall, which was for graduate students, I think particularly DMA. I don't know if masters did their recitals there too. But yeah, like grad students and percussionists. And Ramsey Hall was my favorite. It's the best. It has the intimacy of Edge, but like the acoustics more of the big hall, of Hudson Hall. And I just like loved Ramsey so much. And I was like, I want to perform in Ramsey. Like, Nick, we have to play a flute percussion piece so I can play in Ramsey, because the percussion equipment wouldn't fit in Edge. So that's why they got to perform there. And so that's actually how we started, is I was like, I want to perform in that hall. Like, you must put me on your recital. And the funny thing is, we never did that because we ended up becoming this group together. Like, because the initial idea was like, let's play a piece on each other's recitals.
Right.
But then we were like, wait a minute, this is really cool. We have like the exact same taste in music. Like, Nick is one of my best friends. You know, we just like get along so well. We have so much fun. And so it just became this group, and we ended up doing our first recital in the art school, which was next door, because it was a really beautiful gallery and everything was really live. So it was fun to perform in. And just like, you know, alternative spaces are always interesting to pretty much every new musician. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah. It's called Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
Ramsey
now that you say it, I'm like, is that right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So did you ever actually get to perform in there or not?
No.
Okay,
so I've performed in there on a recording that, so my undergraduate, or my studio, we did an album called A Christmas Flutes or something, actually. So I'm on an album of flute choir Christmas music. And that was all in Ramsey, and that was really fun to play in there, but I've never performed in there, no.
Mm-hmm. What year did you finish at Athens?
2018.
Okay. Pretty recent.
Yes.
I know you're younger than me, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, 2018. I took 1 year in between, and then last year was part-time for my master's. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are things going for you now? Like, what's your routine like, since, you know, we can't go outside or we'll die?
Yeah. Well, all things considered, you know, it's actually like things are going pretty well in terms of school. Just because I feel like I got really lucky with the classes I signed up for and everything. And Nicole Esposito is incredible. And I love her. And I feel very blessed to have her, like, as my teacher. But the classes I'm taking this semester, even though it's a lot, they're the most relevant that any class has ever been towards my my personal interests, and so that has been really nice. And I've also just gotten better at like figuring out what I actually like. So I'm able to do that stuff more, and so yeah, that's better. So even though things are weird, sometimes I'm like, well, I just go home and I'll just play guitar and awesome. That's it. That's fine.
Yeah. Are you doing anything in person for school?
I had to play an orchestra this semester. Wasn't crazy about that, but we made it through playing next to other wind players. So I'm fine there, thank goodness. It was short, so that was good. And then currently I'm still on one. I still have one ensemble left, and it's we're playing De Jolivet Suite en Concert, and so it's me and 4 percussionists, which is super fun, and I definitely like feel a little bit safer doing that. But when I walked in, I was like, are you guys okay with this? Like, please, if you are not, tell me, because it's
you're
like
the dangerous part.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I still work 2 days a week. Like, I go into a grocery store and work. And so I'm like, if anybody is the problem here, it's me. So like, and so that's honestly the most like anxiety inducing thing, really.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm just like here.
How was the orchestra set up? Because I haven't really talked to anybody that's been doing this stuff the past few months.
I got you. So we rehearsed 30 minutes. Whenever we rehearsed, it was only that long, which was weird.
It's really short for an orchestra rehearsal.
Yeah, you like have to be on it. You have to like be there on time, and you just gotta be. I'm interested to like. I would love to talk to the conductors and be like, what was this experience like for you? Because like, I bet they had to be so strict with their planning, because you kind of can't go in there and just be like, all right, we'll do a run through and then hit some spots. It's like, you really have to go in with a plan. Yeah. And same for us. Like, we had to make sure that, like, I would always ask ahead of time, you know, and this is like a normal thing anyways, but especially for this, I was like, what exactly are we rehearsing? Like, I need to have that part down, you know? So it was like 30 minutes, whenever the rehearsal was 30 minutes, and then it was usually like 2 times a week. Sometimes it was 3, sometimes it was 1. But yeah, usually 2 times a week. And I don't know how long it was, like a month and a half, maybe total, maybe a month. And then we just went in. This is the thing with all the recording sessions I've done during this, which is 2. They have been so low key, because you do not have time to do 33 takes. Me and my undergraduate or my graduate auditions did 33 takes of Leonore excerpt. Wow. But anyways, I told you I'm a Virgo.
Did you do that all in one day, or?
Maybe.
Wow.
I can't remember. It was too many. That was terrible. Yeah. Excerpts are not my strong suit. I'm working on it. But anyways, yeah, we just like walk in. We just like pretty much did a run through, and then they were like, all right, thanks guys, bye. And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. When you were doing these half-hour rehearsals, how far were you from other people?
So they put these tape, they put this tape all over the ground, and each tape square was 6 feet, I think. 6, some unit of measurement.
You're in like a 6x6 square.
Yeah, and then there had to be an empty square in between us. Mm-hmm. And so that theoretically we're 12 feet apart if everybody, I guess, is sitting in like the middle of their squares.
Sure.
And so that's how they did it. And then, yeah, so that's how it was. And I would not play until like the rehearsal started. Some people did warm up, and I was like, no, the mask is staying on until
minimize it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'd usually put my mask on. Everybody was a little bit different. It wasn't super standard, but like we did have space and people wear their masks and stuff. So, you know, just did our best.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yes.
You haven't ever tested positive, right?
I haven't.
Okay.
No.
Have you been tested?
I haven't done that either. I
haven't had a single
test. Haven't had symptoms or anything, which I know you can be asymptomatic, but I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about, I was going to get tested a couple weeks ago, and then I accidentally double booked myself. I had work, which was dumb. Like, I literally had work. I was like, I can't get tested. I have work tomorrow. But, so that was the only time I almost got tested and then canceled it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just been, if I just don't go around people, then I don't have to get tested.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like it's difficult to get them again.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I was looking at Test Iowa in Cedar Rapids. That was the one I was going to use, which apparently has, like, been a good one. I have to go home for Christmas, which is stressing me out. But
I'm
for
sure
that,
it is.
Yeah, for that, I have a friend who lives in Chicago who's from Atlanta, and so we're both going to get tested right before quarantine and then drive down together. And then so at least we're trying to be as safe as possible for traveling, and then, you know, I'll figure out how I'm going to manage when I get there and then when I get back here afterwards, or I'll figure that out in due time. But yeah, that's when I'm definitely going to have to get tested.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to see any of my family for the holidays, which sucks, but it's whatever. We'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like honestly the smartest way to go.
And my family lives pretty close, so it's not like you where, you know, you have to travel across the country, so you only see them like, what, 2-3 times a year? How often do you see your family now?
Probably 2 times a year. Yeah, like over winter break and then a little bit over summer.
Yeah. I haven't seen mine a lot this year, but during a normal year, you know, they're a half hour away. I see them all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I moved on pretty quickly from Safety Second, so let me ask you a little bit more about them. Or you, not them. You are part of Safety Second. Where does that name come from?
So it came from me and Nick having planned a recital already and not having planned a name. And so we were like, we have to have a name for this recital. And so we walked into CJT's office. CJT is Cynthia Johnson-Turner, the director of bands at my undergrad, who I mentioned, who I love her. And I walked into her office. I used to just go bother her all the time. And I was like, hey, CJT, we need a name. And she was like, what are you guys about? And I don't know what I said, but whatever I said made her say, why not Safety Second? She literally said it so quickly and casually. She was just like, I was like, hey, what should we call ourselves? And she was like, why not Safety Second? And I was like, how did you do that so quickly? We've been thinking of this for so many weeks and have absolutely zero options. The only name that we came up with was Bells and Whistles, and we were like, that's an album name and not a band name.
Sure.
Because the one, oh my gosh, I'm still not over this. If Nick hears this, he's gonna like punch me in the face. Not actually, he's not violent at all. Okay, anyways, there's a name that he came up with called Lipstick, and I was like, that's amazing. It's edgy. It's like kind of a, you know, like new music groups, they do the pun thing. And it's like kind of a pun. But it's
Lipstick?
like, yeah, because flute, like lip, and then he's a percussionist. But it's like not an outright pun, like Bells and Whistles. And I was like, that's amazing. And he was like, but there's a percussion duo that already has that name. And I was so mad. Because and for 2 years afterwards, I was like, Nick, what if we just take their name? They're inactive. He was like, we can't. But
well, they're just a percussion duo?
Yeah.
Well, so they're not really using their lips, probably,
they're both
right?
ladies, that's why, I think.
Well, men have lips, too.
I
did notice in the picture you have on your website for the Safety Second part, you are wearing black lipstick in that picture. Is that a subtle reference to that possibility? No,
I just really love lipstick. I should have put on black lipstick for this. I never wear it anymore, obviously because of masks.
No one, no one's gonna see. Yeah.
But lipstick was like dark purple and black lipstick in particular. That was like, it's like my signature thing. So I just I wear it whenever I get the chance. But yeah, the name just literally came from us.
In purple, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, all those shows. Probably was just flexing with my purple lipstick.
Yeah. It's impressive. You want to look cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else have you guys done aside from the not recital that you did at the art building?
So, we have performed, our friend Cassidy, who's a violinist, she's from Atlanta and then went to Michigan and one of the Boston schools. But she started this music festival called Inman, and that happened in Atlanta and Ann Arbor. And we've played at the Atlanta one the past 2 years, which was super fun. And Inman is like based off of Inman Blue, which was like a new color that was discovered like a few years ago or whatever. And so we've played at that. And then what else?
I don't know how much you know about this, but how do they discover a color? Like, what's the science behind that?
I have no idea.
Okay, because
I read an article about it. Right? But if there's going to be a color that is discovered, I feel like blue makes sense. Because I feel like it was a new naturally occurring blue or something like that. Because, blue isn't like everywhere in nature as much as like green or something.
So like, conceptually, we could have known about this blue, but we hadn't witnessed it like occurring naturally.
I think maybe because my first thought I was like, well, isn't it like in the RGB this little what are those called? The spectrums.
Spectrum, yeah.
I was like, I've got to have seen it. But I feel like I remember seeing a picture of like a powder or something.
Yeah, you would think that the spectrum is it's everything we can see, right?
Yeah,
that's the entire spectrum of visible colors.
Says physics, yeah. According to physics.
You did mention earlier that you were a nerd, so science nerd at all? Because I was never super into science in school.
I did go through a science. I did go through a science phase. Is what I was about to say. My mom was a science teacher actually. She did a lot of different things, but science for like the entirety of like my presence in the universe.
Were you ever her student?
No, they didn't allow that. But I did get like, because she taught middle school which is what I wanted to teach actually when I wanted to be a band director. But just because she was friends with all the other teachers at school, I would get like special treatment sometimes, which was incredibly frustrating. Yeah. And I also had teachers coming up to me, being like, I remember when you were this big. And I was like, literally, who are you? Yeah. But I did do this like super cool science program that was put on by Fernbank Science Center in Atlanta my freshman year. So actually I did not even do music my freshman year of high school. I did science instead, which is funny to think about. Because my senior year I didn't take any science because I had done 2 sciences my freshman year.
Right.
But anyways, yeah. So I did do that, but I was never really like, I just like liked learning. It wasn't like I have this attachment to science. Like, yeah.
Yeah, as you said before, you were a nerd.
Yes.
Yeah, science was the one that I tended to put at the bottom of the priority list. I think, yeah, like you mentioned, you didn't take a science class your last year, and I remember there being like very basic requirements for like how many classes in a certain subject you have to take to graduate. And I really pushed that limit on science. It's like, they want you to take this many, but they'll let you through if you take this many. So I'm going to just do as little as possible.
Yeah.
But also my schedule is just like so packed with like artsy stuff that it would have been hard to make time anyway. So it was easy to just not do the stuff I didn't want to do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Priorities. Yeah.
Were you doing choir stuff as well in high school?
Yeah, I did. My middle school, actually, I'm pretty sure I did both in middle school, and I did both in high school too, where it let me. And then it wasn't like an every year thing because, just like depending on like AP classes and like all that stuff, it always gets more like confusing. But I know sometimes if I couldn't be in the class, I would still learn the music on my own and like go sing with the mixed choir.
Nice.
I love choir music. I love it so much. There were a few times in my undergrad where I was like, why am I not a vocal major? Like, what am I doing? Or like, should I add it? All this kind of stuff. But yeah, I did both where I could. And then my senior year, I remember I couldn't get into the class because I didn't have room in my schedule, and I just had like a hole in like second period or something. And so I just went to the counselor's office and I was like, hey, what music classes do you have? And they were like, we have beginner guitar. And I was like, dope, sign me up. And then I went home that day and I said, Mom, I need to buy a guitar today. I have guitar class tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Had you ever touched the guitar prior to that?
Yes. So this guitar, this is my first guitar. I got it in 5th grade. And did I play it? No. I played like I think Smoke on the Water. Mm-hmm. And then because I think like my dad or somebody was like, yeah, you can just do it like this. My dad is not musical.
Everyone
all.
Can play the Smoke in the Water.
Exactly.
Riff. Yeah.
Literally just like
Smoke on the Water. Sorry.
Yeah. Smoke in the water. Yeah. And so I like never played. And I remember my parents even being like, shouldn't you like get an acoustic guitar? And I was like, no, I want an electric. Because this girl I knew had an electric. Mm-hmm. And they look so badass.
Yeah, man. That's like a SG?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it a real one or like a knockoff one?
I have no idea. It's an Epiphone, so no.
Okay. So it's like a little bit of a fake one.
Yes.
But Epiphone is still legit.
Yeah.
SGs are Gibson, I think. I used to be like so into
right.
like classic rock and stuff and like knowing the guitars.
I was never into that. I need to do it now though, now that I like play guitar more. But yeah, I didn't play this thing ever until, so I started playing acoustic at the end of high school, and then in college I would still play acoustic some. And then it wasn't until actually this summer when I was like, no, I want to start playing electric because I think it'll fit in better with like the kind of music that I make.
Nice, yeah.
And so I flew it up here, got me a flight case, flew it up here, and now I play electric like every day.
I've got this one sitting here.
Oh, she's beautiful. I love sparkles.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got it from a guy on Craigslist in like 2011, I think.
Incroyable. Yeah, this thing, it's funny to think about that I got it when I was 11. And like only just now played it and I'm 24.
Yeah, I remember my grandfather died before I was born, but he played guitar a little bit in like church and stuff. Mm-hmm. So when I think it was for my 11th birthday or 12th or maybe a Christmas around then, my grandma like dug up his old guitar and had it fixed up a little bit and gave that to me. So that was my first one, which I don't have here with me. It's at my parents' house. But that was what precious. I learned on. I learned, Smoke on the Water.
Oh, yes.
At the time, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes was really popular, so I learned that riff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I have an Epiphone, too, on the rack back there that my mom bought me at a pawn shop when I was 14, I think.
Oh, amazing. I love pawn shops.
Yeah. Yeah, I played that one pretty frequently through like all of high school, but then in college I was like trying to focus on saxophone a little more, so I put it away for a while.
Yeah.
But I've also been picking up the guitar more recently.
It's good. It's a good thing to be doing, especially nowadays.
Yeah, they sound cool.
Nice.
It's cool to make cool sounds.
Yeah, and you can just like, even if you're not practicing or like exploring the sounds of the instrument, I'll just like chuck on some like Father John Misty and like ultimateguitar.com and just play along. And it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, I was do you know Johnny Cash very well?
Not very well.
Okay. He has this song Big River that I liked a lot when I was younger. It's like a very kind of dramatic, sad song. The music is not sad. It's like pretty upbeat, but the lyrics are sad in a very silly way. Like he says that his tears are going to flood the river.
I love it. So dramatic.
Yeah.
So dramatic.
Yeah. So I was playing that the other day just to make fun of my own sadness, I guess.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what art is for.
Mm-hmm. Now that you brought it up, that's a pretty good transition into like the music that you make by yourself, because you mentioned in your bio that you write and perform your own songs, and there's a lot of improvisation and looping within those songs. So when you say songs, do you mean like literal like songs that you sing?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of songs have you written?
So I guess just to like give you a little bit of background, kind of riffing off of my little bio excerpt. The songwriting, I guess, it's still I'm still very new at it. So it's developing a lot. But it started in college. I borrowed my friend's loop pedal because she never used it. And I had it for a year and a half. And like for the longest time, a lot of my gear was borrowed. And still, even this microphone is borrowed from my friend who is a producer and also an angel, and was like, here, take this. And I was like, thank you. But yeah, so I used to mess around with her loop pedal all the time, and I would like loop vocal stuff or flute stuff, and then just like improvise lyrics on top of it.
Yeah.
And then that developed into, I got Ableton, and I kind of started doing the same thing and just looping. And then from there, I started trying to write fuller songs, and they're still very like, I still have yet to write a song that is like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Like, it's the stuff that I write is like, here is 5 lines of music and it's 3 minutes of a song. Like, there are 5 lines of 5 lyrics, you know? Yeah, so it's like I really like asymmetric forms. And like, it's funny because the music I listen to, like, I really love experimental stuff, but the music I write is very much like one like really honest line and like a loop underneath it, you know, like with like electronics or something. And then I've more recently just started trying to get better at guitar. So like the last 2 songs that I've written have been just like me like just like strumming it out on my electric. Like the most recent song I wrote after watching Mitski's 2013 Tiny Desk concert, which is amazing. And it's just literally her and her electric just like, like singing into it, like for class of 2013. Oh, nice. So good. That's an incredible Tiny Desk. But anyways, yeah. So I hope that was coherent. I'm not very good at talking.
Oh, no, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Did you ever meet Vero before she moved to Chicago?
Yes. Okay. Vero's great. Yeah, I saw one of her songs that she wrote that she posted on Instagram, and I loved it.
Yeah, her songs are kind of like what you're describing for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, she did this thing at an iHearIC show with her horn where she was just like layering a bunch of loops over each other, and then she sang over that, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And
that's very much like the beginning of my process.
Yeah, yeah. And then she has a lot of more conventional like guitar things, but she also improvises a lot, and it's a lot of very like open form stuff.
Yeah.
I think you guys could collaborate.
Yeah, you're like literally describing exactly what I do. I'm like, oh man, I need to text her.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the future a little bit.
All right.
What do you hope to accomplish in the let's just like
fucking
go
good
like
question.
Totally like pie in the sky, like what's something really big that you would like to accomplish in your life?
I would really love to like kind of tour performing my music. Not even like on doesn't even have to be like a large scale thing, but I mentioned earlier like that intersection of like contemporary classical and like indie pop.
Yeah.
I would really love to live there, in that intersection of music and like with those musicians who also live there, because I love that kind of stuff. I really want to get better at songwriting. I want to learn lots of instruments. I just bought a bass. I'm really excited about it.
Like a bass guitar?
Yeah, this is a lot of things. I want to get better at production so I can like produce my own music. So I guess that's the big goal, is like I want to be able to like write and produce and tour my stuff, I guess. Yeah. And keep doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I would say as far as production goes, just like try it.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
You can get away with not being that good at it, you know. I've made a lot of music just by myself, and it's like, that sounds good enough. I'm ready. I'm done. And then it's like, people tell me, oh, this is nice. I like it. And that's good enough for me most of the time.
I feel
even
that.
If I didn't spend hours and hours like perfecting the production side of it.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like you just have to follow your ears.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my friends was asking me, I sent her one of my songs and she was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, how do you do this? And I remember I sent her the chords. She was like, I want to learn it. And I sent her the chords. And I accidentally sent her the wrong ones. Like, one of them was incorrect. And she was like, I was wondering why I thought I was, like playing the wrong fingering or something. And I was like, no, I told you, like, I don't write based on theory. Like, even though I'm getting my master's degree in performance and, like, I've taken, years of theory through music school. I'm like, I don't write based on that. Like, everything is just like, this sounds cool. Okay.
Yeah, this sounds cool. And then I'll find another thing that sounds cool to go after it.
And see
and
if they sound cool
in
together.
order. Yeah.
See if they sound cool in order. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Music.
Yeah. That's how it works. You just follow your impulses.
Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've also wanted to tour for a long time, and I was like this close. I was really ready to do it this year, and then no.
Yeah, I've thought about. Last year I had thought about doing like a baby one, but like just like a couple places up here in the Midwest, but obviously,
yeah.
But I don't even know if I even have enough stuff right now, so.
Sure. Yeah, I had a gig set up in Omaha with a couple of my friends for July, and then that had to get canceled.
Yeah.
And then I was going to try to maybe, like, patch together a few things, like, around that, but, impossible now.
Yes.
Yeah. But maybe in a year we'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Eventually. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
At the minimum, eventually it'll happen.
That gives you time to write stuff.
Exactly, which I've been trying to do more of recently, and it has been very healthy to do in this unprecedented time.
I've heard that phrase so many times.
Dear God.
Yeah. At some point, it's going to be precedented.
Oh my gosh.
We've been in it so long.
We're kind of heading there. I feel like it kind of is for some people. They're just like walking around like everything's fine. I'm like, It's still unprecedented, you guys.
Yeah. Did you see that picture I posted on Instagram last night? Or maybe the night before?
I delete that app like every other day.
Yeah. I was walking across the bridge by the IMU, and there was graffiti written on it that said, "We want football."
The priorities of some people.
Yeah.
Baffling.
Yeah. It was weird. Well, we've been talking for about an hour now, which is kind of my standard for these things. Do you feel like we had a meaningful conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's going on, so.
Cool.
You know about me singing out loud in my classroom in 8th grade or whatever, so.
Those are the kinds of important stories that I'm trying to, like, raise up and get out of people.
It doesn't take much for me, I'll tell you anything, so.
Good. We'll have to do it again and, like, learn more of your embarrassing secrets.
All 2 of them, probably. I don't know.
So I would like to end this episode with a piece of your music. Do you have a preference for what I put at the end here?
You can either, I guess, there's one called I'll Be Here that's on my SoundCloud, or I have another one called Don't Come Find Me, which I can send you the file of. That's a good one, too. Okay.
Is that one not available elsewhere?
It is only on my Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with that one.
IGTV.
It's a little bit more exclusive.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send that one to you.
Yeah. And for the people listening, you can find more of Lex's work at alexisletourneau.com. Would you like to spell your last name for me?
Letourneau. Just let our and then Neau.
Yeah, that's like French, kind of, right?
It is French, yeah.
Yeah.
It is, in fact.
Yep. And I'll include a link to that in the description of this episode, wherever you are listening or watching it. A reminder, if you contribute to the project at patreon.com/iHearIC, the minimum is $1 per month, so it's very cheap. And the money that I get through that helps me to pay people to perform on the shows, once we can do that again, or to appear on this radio program, which is happening right now. Again, that's patreon.com/iHearIC, and you'll be able to watch video episodes of these interviews that I've been doing. That's about all that's going on right now. It's just video chats. It's our whole life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can find the rest of our stuff at iHearIC.com. And now I have to do the sad part. Yeah, so I wanted to put this at the end so that we could have a normal conversation first, you know?
Wait, what? What's happening?
Oh, I have to talk about Hannah for just a minute at the end.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I had to put it at the end so that things could be normal for a while, and then I could address, what happened. Okay, so last week, my friend Hannah Colton killed herself. She was a journalist in New Mexico. I've known her since I was 12. We were very close friends. Everybody who knew her loved her. I'm going to miss her forever. She came on my radio show last summer in July 2019, and she played a couple of her own songs on that show. So I'm going to include them after we listen to Lex's piece. So that will be this show's tribute to her, I guess. So rest in peace, Hannah. I wish you had not done that. Okay. Sorry, Lex. I know that.
Oh, that's okay.
You didn't know her, but I had to put this in here, you know?
Yeah. I started listening to the link that you have on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a lovely voice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'll have to. It's still open on my Google Chrome, so I can finish listening to it.
Yep, they're nice songs too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'm sorry to end it on a sad note, but Lex, thank you for joining me today, and thanks everyone for listening to this. And have a good rest of your week and month and everything. Signing off. Good night.
come find me. Don't come find me. Don't come find me. Don't come find me. I broke my fast with elderberry gummies. The coffee didn't last, so I grabbed my keys and went to get some easy for me to say. It's all understandable and fine. Everyone's having to explain themselves away all the time. I locked my keys in the car again, and I'm calling you stranded, and I left my clothes all over the floor again as I rushed out late looking to dance. Wouldn't you say it's all understandable and fine? Everyone's trying not to give themselves away all the time. Ah-ooh, ah-ooh, ah-ooh. Oh no. Ah-ooh, ah-ooh, ah-ooh. How do you misunderstand me? Oh, let me count the ways I've always been afraid I'll have nothing interesting to say. But to know me just for knowing is a risk I'd like you to take. It requires the kind of effort that's impossible to fake. I'm the one carrying sunblock and snacks. My legs, they are strong. My patience not easy to sap. I have in my brain 60 or 70 very handy iPhone apps. You don't have to say it's all understandable or fine. And not everyone's having to explain themselves away all the time. I'm the girl rage-breaking pottery. I'm the one slouching into the checkout line, cracking a joke. I'm the pantsuited woman, crouched down behind a black umbrella for a smoke. I'm a lonely ghost ship passing blindly by my kindred fellow. I don't think we were meant to have the blues like these have yellows. How do you misunderstand me? Oh, help me count the ways. I hate that I'm afraid I'll have nothing interesting to say. But to know me just for knowing is a risk I'd like you to take. It requires the kind of effort that's impossible to fake. How do you misunderstand me? Oh, help me count the ways. I hate that I'm afraid I'll have nothing interesting to say. But to know me just for knowing is a risk I'd like you to take. It requires the kind of effort that our mothers taught us to make. Ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. That's the song.
Great. That was Hannah Colton playing some music. She doesn't have a name for this song yet.
Yeah, and I go by Spliceling.
Spliceling.
That is the name of my solo project.
Awesome.
Gonna go?
Yeah.
That was just a test. This is a song for very late at night, for when your brain is hot and when your tongue is tired. This is a song for very late at night. It's a full body stretch after a 10-hour flight. It's a very repetitive song. This is a tune for the moth in your room, for when your crying eyes are red as poppies all in bloom. It's for when your toes are cold. Heaven knows, heaven knows, heaven knows. This is a tune for every moth in my room. Like, could you just chill out? I'm trying to whisper to the moon. But if someone whispers back, let it go, let it go, let it go. This is a room where no one gets freaked out, not by roaches on the wall, nor by kisses on the mouth, where nobody can F up, and where no one's keeping score, and you can't forget your sore. Heaven knows, heaven knows, heaven knows. This is a room and relax. It's a room for taking all the space and cutting yourself slack. It's where no one else can help, and no one can want let in, and no one can get set up for disappointment or for pain. It's a solitary vessel, a gazebo in the rain. No one's there to make you laugh. Let it go, take a breath. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. This is a song for very late at night. It's a full body stretch after a 10-hour flight.
That was Hannah Colton.
Thank you.
In case it wasn't clear, she was playing that live in the studio.
I did. I played it. I go by Spliceling. I keep forgetting to introduce myself that way, but
I forgot you said that the first time.
It is the name that I play by.